What could these and this possibly have in common? Well, you're about to find out. Alright guys, Daniel from Guiltless Foods here. As you saw in the intro, what could these black bananas and this banana flavoured protein powder possibly have in common? Well, the answer is banana bread. Now, no doubt if you're a banana bread fan, you go to the local coffee shop to have a coffee and a slice of banana bread. This is going to be a healthy version that you can make at home, and it's going to be very easy, very quick to make, and yes, it does require black bananas. No, they're not mouldy, they are frozen and defrosted, and that is just to make them very mushy. First off, I'm going to start by slating the banana bread that you can buy in the coffee shops, and then you can compare this recipe to theirs for yourself. So, the calories in a popular brand slice of banana bread is 420 calories, 21 grams from fat, 52 grams from carbohydrates, 31 of that is sugar, and 6 grams from protein. Now if we switch over to my banana bread, this recipe will make you 8 portions. One portion will give you 126 calories, 2 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbohydrates, only 4 from sugar, 3 from fibre, so only 17 grams of net carbs, and 9 grams of protein. And that's a much better proposition, especially since this banana bread tastes just as good as the one you'll get in the coffee shops. So let's get started. So firstly, before we get to the ingredients, we'll start with the equipment and prep that you'll need. I have a loaf tin lined with some non-stick cooking spray and some baking parchment. This is just an 8-inch loaf tin. It's possibly a bit big for this recipe, but that's all I've got. A mixing bowl, a set of weighing scales, and your oven preheated to 160 degrees. So let's get the ingredients ready. So what you're going to need is 240 grams of frozen and defrosted bananas, not in their skins. You need 1.5 scoops of your protein powder. This is optional as long as you replace it with some extra oat flour, about 40 grams of extra oat flour. You don't need the protein powder, this is just for me personally. And 150 grams of oat flour. This is just oats that I have weighed out into a food processor and blended to a fine powder. You need 132 grams of liquid egg whites and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix all the dry ingredients together. So your baking powder, cinnamon and nutmeg, your ground oats and your protein powder. Those are just going to get a stir. This prevents there being any lumps in your batter when you add the wet ingredients. So now that those are all mixed together, I'll show you what that looks like. Just looks like a homogenized powder. You're going to dump in your liquid egg whites. Next you're going to carefully peel these bananas, and they've gone all black like this because they've effectively ripened when you've frozen them and defrosted them. It also breaks down the cell structure of the banana, making them super soft, as you can see, so they don't leave any lumps in your banana bread. Right, all my wet ingredients are in the bowl. I'm just going to give them a mix up. I've got some water in a pot on standby here, just because the type of protein I'm using tends to absorb quite a lot of moisture. What you want from this is a pancake batter consistency. So if it's not that consistency when the egg whites and the bananas are mixed in, then you're going to need to add a bit more water. So if you can see, my batter is not quite a pancake consistency, it's a little bit too thick. If you're used to making cakes, you want this to be like a cake batter kind of consistency. So I'm just going to add a bit more water to loosen it up. Right guys, that's all mixed up. That's the consistency you want. You want it just to drop off the spoon after a few seconds, and that is perfect. So I'm just going to put this into my baking tray. I'm going to put it into my preheated oven, 160 degrees Celsius, round about 350 Fahrenheit, for 25 to 30 minutes. You want to err on the shorter side for the cooking time, just because this can dry out very quickly and you'd rather it be just cooked or undercooked than be overcooked, if you see what I mean. So I'll see you guys when this is done. Right guys, so whilst the banana bread is in the oven, I'm going to be making what I'm going to have with it, the accompaniment for it, which is my very own chocolate and hazelnut spread. And this is a much healthier version of the most common chocolate and hazelnut spread. Not to mention, I believe it's better because it's dark chocolate. So we'll just read off the ingredients here. I've got 50 mils to start with of almond milk, or you can use hazelnut milk, coconut milk, regular milk, whichever. And I've got 1 scoop or 30 grams of my new trend chocolate and hazelnut protein powder, mixed together with 15 grams of dark cocoa powder, and lastly I've got 50 grams of my own homemade hazelnut butter. This is literally just toasted hazelnuts blended together until it forms a paste. You can buy your own, just read the nutrition labels. It should only have hazelnuts and possibly salt in. If you have the ones that have extra oil added or sugar added, they're not so good. First we're going to start by combining the dry goods with the milk, so this prevents any lumps. So there you go, the dry is combined with the wet. It all depends on which protein powder you're using as to how much liquid you need to put in, and also your preference on how thick you like it to be. If you want it any thicker than this, my advice would be to actually put it into a food processor and blend it. So now I'm just going to add the hazelnut butter, and that's going to be it. And there we go, hazelnut butter is combined. Now you can see it made it a lot thicker, a lot nicer, a lot richer. So now I'm going to read off the nutrition facts for a portion of this versus the popular chocolate and hazelnut spread. So for 20 grams of the popular chocolate and hazelnut spread, there is 103 calories, 6 grams from fat, 11 grams from carbohydrates, no fiber, and only 2 grams from protein. Now, of mine, per 20 gram serving, there is only 59 calories, so roughly half the calories, only 4 grams of fat, healthy fats, only 2 grams of carbohydrate, 1 gram from fiber, 1 gram from sugar, sugar's from the protein powder, and 4 grams of protein. So that gives you a much better option, and you saw how quick and easy it was to make. If you've got all the ingredients in the house, it probably takes you less time to make it than it does to go to the shop and buy the hazelnut spread. Alright guys, the banana bread is cooked. I'll give you a show here. And you know it's cooked when a wooden skewer comes out clean. Now that's just got to cool down in the tin for half an hour or so before you can tuck in. So there it is guys, out of the oven in all its glory with your chocolate and hazelnut spread. If you want to check to see how this is cooked, mine did take an extra 8 minutes, but exactly like a cake, if you stick a wooden skewer in, it comes out clean, then you're good to go. Still lovely and moist. I really want to get tucked in, so I'm going to go now and have myself a slice. If you guys think that this is the type of content that you would like to watch more of, please click like and subscribe. Thank you.